Hi everyone, we are going into the chapter called The Power of the Mind today. And we're also going to do, nutrition and pain. And we're going to do that sort of all combined in one. So the power of the mind. Objectives, we're going to learn about self-talk and how we engage. Understands the difference between optimists and pessimists, which I'm sure you sort of already know. Discuss Eli's irrational beliefs and Beck and Burns' cognitive distortions. And then also learn about changing your thoughts. So, harnessing the power of the mind. When we think about that, we are talking about really how chronic pain affects the way we think. And how we use relaxation responses in with that all at once. Our thinking patterns, we can change them. We don't always think about it that way, but there are ways we can kind of choose how we think. I just don't think we do it as often as we want. Patients who have certain beliefs about their pain tend to have a negative emotions. Patients who believe you shouldn't move when you're in pain can increase that patient's despair, inactivity, and sense of helplessness. So depending on what that person believes about their specific pain can increase those negative emotions. The mind will give meaning to the experience that we're having. So if you are self-defeated or hopeless, you will most likely interpret pain negatively. One of the good examples I can think with this is, and actually today is a perfect day, not like you can tell, but it's raining outside. So a sunny day versus a rainy day. So when you wake up and it's a rainy day and you go, oh, it's raining, I don't feel like getting up. It's going to be wet all day. My feet are going to be wet. As opposed to a sunny day, you might tend to wake up and go, oh, it's sunny. I'm going to have a good day. It's going to be warm and bright. And that can kind of increase your positive, I guess you would say, emotions. And so your mind can give feeling to the emotions that you're having. Self-talk is listening to what you say to yourself as you react to a situation. So everyone does it. If you say you don't, you're lying. But we do it constantly. When you are going to take a test, you might say, okay, you can do this. I know that you have it. You've studied hard. You can be confident. And you walk into it feeling more. But that talk that's going on in your head is a self-talk. If we change the way we talk to ourselves, it will change how we feel. If we are negatively talking to ourselves, the chances of us feeling negative emotions are increased. Sort of like an optimist versus a pessimist. An optimist will look at the glass half full. A pessimist will look at the glass half empty. I'm an optimist. I tend to be. I mean, I have my bad days. I think everyone does. But the self-talk that happens just goes on constantly without us even realizing that it's happening. And whether you like to or not, we've all engaged in this negative self-talk at one point. If you say, well, I'm never going to make it to work on time, or I'm never going to pass this test, or I'm not going to do good on this competency, that's a negative self-talk. There's Ellis's irrational beliefs, and Albert Ellis developed a way to challenge exaggerated thought and replace them with more realistic ones. This is based on the idea that much of our suffering comes from the irrational ways we think about it. Mostly because we don't think straight or on a positive manner. Examples, I'll just read them. It is an absolute necessity for an adult to have love and approval from peers, family, and friends. Would we like it? Of course. Are we able to get it all of the time? That's an irrational belief because it doesn't always happen that way. You must be unfailingly competent and most perfect in all you undertake. Again, that's irrational. And so on and so forth. I'm not going to read all of these to you. You guys can do that on your own. You need something other or stronger or greater than yourself to rely on. Like, you can't actually do it all yourself. You need someone else to help you. Those are, again, are irrational beliefs. Beck and Burns had 12 types of cognitive distortions, which sort of ran the same. There was an all or nothing thinking. If I can't play baseball, I can't enjoy the sport anymore. Catastrophizing. You know that things will turn out badly. Now my whole day is ruined. I had so much to do and I'll never get it all done. Disqualifying the positive. So an example was, I don't feel great. She doesn't understand. Emotional reasoning. I feel useless, therefore I am useless. Labeling. I'm a pain and my whole life is ruined. Magnification or minification. I can't stand this. I can't take this anymore. You can't take any more. You're either magnifying the situation or making it smaller than what it is. Mental filtering. You are preparing lunch for some friends and discover that you do not have an essential ingredient. All you can think about is how the whole lunch will be ruined, and it gives you indigestion. Mind reading. For example, you pass a coworker in the hallway and say, hi. He doesn't respond. You think, he must be upset with me. What did I do wrong? When you check it out, you find out that nothing was actually wrong. That's how you filtered it. That's what you were thinking in your own brain. Overgeneralization. I'll never be able to enjoy anything ever. A personalization, taking responsibility for a negative event even when the circumstances are beyond your control. Should and must statements, which means I should be able to do that. I must go to this thing. Or a tunnel vision, which is you only see the negative aspects of a situation. The book does also talk about old tapes or recordings from earlier experiences that repeat and repeat in your head. These can be memories as well. These are also can be irrational cognitive distortions that happen in your brain. The book talks about Loretta Loesch, a comedian who teaches these principles through humor, conjures up a powerful image of a big yellow school bus that each person drives through life. Various people get on and off, but some have a lifetime ticket. They may include parents, teachers, ex-lovers, friends, and mentors, both alive and dead. There's always someone who thinks he or she knows the best way of getting you where you're going, and sometimes that person will be found in the driver's seat. But this is your opportunity to decide who's really driving your bus. To return to the metaphor, it's your opportunity to replace your old self-talk loops with some new ones. And just making sure that you yourself are the one who's in charge of your own life or your own, quote, school bus. Monitoring self-thoughts, again, these are automatic thoughts that just play in your head without really knowing. And thinking negatively over a long period of time is not healthy, and it will not help anything go away. But you can fix that if you practice on fixing it. People don't think they can, but it can. What triggered that negative thought? What is the one aspect that, was it driving? Was it like a little road rage driving or someone not using their turn signal? Or, what actually triggered that negative talk that you can catch it next time and try to fix it? There are actually apps that you can use to track yourself talking so you can recognize it a little bit better. Anger is a powerful emotion. A lot of patients that you'll have with chronic pain are angry with what's happened to them, and they don't have control. If you do not get control of your anger, that can increase heart disease, substance abuse, and any social abuse like road rage and abuse. So it's important that we get the anger under control. Some patients will blame other people for their problems, whether it be their work or something that had happened to them. And that doesn't really help anything other than just continue that anger loop. And physical exercise helps check the stress effect of anger. So it kind of replaces that effect and makes you feel better. The why me aspect, no patient can answer that question. Why did I get in a car accident? Why did I hurt myself at work? It gives an illusion that there is an answer, but you can never find it. It's just another form of negative thoughts and unhealthy emotions because we're just repeating it in their head. There is no answer. They're looking for something that they cannot find. So changing your thoughts. 3 techniques. Challenging the self-talk, so catching yourself before the thoughts actually affect you. Clarifying the problem and what you can do, so determine what the real problem is and how to control that actual problem. Is it actually the pain that's causing you this issue, or is it that you can't work or can't do social activities? So targeting where the real problem is. And then the vertical arrow, or so what? So buying into these negative thoughts, like, I can't go to work. Okay, so what? What's going to happen? Well, I can't get money. Okay, so what? So you kind of keep working through these so what thoughts and work through them. And it will trickle down and find actually that root cause. So some common psychological labels in chronic pain is depression, hysteria, hypochondriasis, malingering, and PTSD. If you are, depending on what your doctor is seeing, this can have effect on your body and your chronic pain. So just being aware of that is important. All right, I'm going to pause this video for just a moment so I can switch over, and we're going to go into nutrition and pain chapter. All right, so going into nutrition and pain here today. This is chapter 7 in the book. Not like it makes a difference for you, because it really doesn't. Objectives are: learn about why we need to know about chronic pain and nutrition, know the 2 important principles, discuss managing pain through nutrition, and know the how, when, what, and why. I do want to make a clarification. This is not a nutrition class. It was never meant to be a nutrition class. We're just talking about how it can affect some chronic pain patients. So keep that in mind when we're going through this chapter. So why do we need to discuss nutrition and pain management? First of all, nutrition is vital for good health. And there are some specific foods and eating habits that can increase your pain without a patient really even realizing it. And there is a great deal of misinformation or therapies. We're all looking for the healthier us, right? It's the time of a healthy Professor Wagner, or working towards a healthier you. And so we need to understand that what is or is not healthy for a regular patient may not be good for a chronic patient. So the 2 most important principles are fresh is best and moderation. Fresh is best is hard to follow because most of our foods now are prepared, processed, and fast food is just easier sometimes. I don't always feel like cooking. I don't feel like making vegetables. Those are things, I don't always have time to do those things either. With families with 4 or more, there is not much time or energy to go through. Moderation also, eating to maintain just a stable weight and eat quantities that meet a calorie requirement. I couldn't tell you what mine is now, but I know that the portions in America are ginormous. And I know that we eat too much overall. And some people eat too late at night as well. This one you might be familiar with. This is the old pyramid, where it has a certain amount of grains, vegetables, fruits, milk, meat, and beans, I believe. Yep, this is the new choosemyplate.gov. This is the new standards you should go by. So this is sort of what your plate should look like with the dairy, protein, fruits, and vegetables, and grains. I know myself, I don't have nearly enough vegetables on my plate, and I have more grains or protein, which I'm okay with that. I understand that. There is a website that the book listed, that's supertracker.usda.gov, that actually is a website will give you personalized direct recommendations on portion amounts, eating habits, and those kind of things. It shows you exactly what you should do to prevent obesity. I know some people have used trackers on their phone. I've done that before. I've actually really enjoyed it. If you want to know, a lot of people work through their BMI. I don't always think that the BMI is true to, I don't think that should be the end-all be-all, I guess I would say, to obesity, overweight, or healthy. But you would take your weight divided by height squared, and that equals an answer. and you would times that by 703, and that would equal your BMI. And depending on what number you have, so overweight would be 25 to 29.9 would be an overweight BMI. And I think a lot of people find themselves sitting in that category only because they're either working their muscles more, they have more muscle weight. It's interesting to see when you actually calculate it out. So managing pain through nutrition, again, fad diets don't always affect people with chronic pain appropriately. We don't always want to go on these fad cleanses, or, I'm sure you've heard of cleanses lately, like Advocare, or I can't think of the pink drink, oh my gosh, Plexus, I think it is. Those kind of things. Those aren't always healthy to drain your body of some of the nutrients that you might need. Your patient doesn't want to ignore some of the symptoms that they're having. Things like caffeine, alcohol, MSG, and aspartame can all increase pain. So if your patient is noting an increase in pain in the morning after they have their morning coffee, maybe that's attributing to the pain. But there are also how to eat, when to eat, and what to eat. We're going to go into those now. So how to eat. So important to take the proper time to prepare your food and to eat your food. I myself know that I probably rush too much, but allowing yourself to actually enjoy the food that you have. So looking at the color of the food, the smells of the food, the feels of the food, making sure it's a pleasurable activity and not something that you're rushing for. Now, as a student, I'm sure that if you think about how you eat, how are you guys eating? Are you eating with distractions? Are you eating late at night? Are you eating while you're trying to study? All of those can significantly change, and if you're rushing, it's not going to be good for your body. When to eat? Who eats on the run? Raise your hand. Although I can't see you raise your hand, so apologize about that. Eating a good breakfast is essential. I'm sure, I would guess at least 80% of you guys do not eat a good breakfast, although maybe you do now that you're not actually in a physical classroom. Don't eat the largest meal in the evening. That should be breakfast. And then eating small meals throughout the day can actually help with some chronic symptoms because you're not bloating yourself up. What to eat and why? Again, eating the healthier foods and in moderation can be key to helping you feel better. A lot of patients do like a comfort eating where they're eating the cakes or the cookies because they're just kind of trying to soothe themselves, but that's just temporary. It's not going to actually make them feel better. Now you guys have an assignment for the food diary, which I also have posted on Blackboard. I want you to do 2 days worth of, documenting or diarying your food intake. So time when you ate, the food or beverage that you did, the quantity. It does not have to be exact, but roughly estimate. If you had 2 cans of soda, then write down 2 cans of soda and when it ended. And you can write down anything else that you want on there. Felt full, felt bloated, and see by the end of the 2 days if you notice yourself eating too much, or you were surprised at how much you were eating, or how much you were snacking, how much alcohol you drank on the weekend, those kind of things. And it's just to sort of make you aware of the things that you didn't really realize that you were doing because you're eating. All right, if you guys have any questions, please let me know, and I will talk to you next chapter. Bye, guys.